The secret of the CNPP. What to expect this year, in patch 1.9 and 2.0. Many people have started asking when the next patch will be released and how things are going at GSC with the engine update. If this interests you, enjoy watching. Today we will discuss the upcoming patch 1.9, the future patch 2.0, and multiplayer in the game. I will immediately answer the most frequently asked question. It is not known for sure whether the next patch, 1.9, will include the engine update. However, the engine upgrade to UE 5.5.4, which will increase PC performance by at least 6080%, will definitely arrive in early 2026. GSC are not sitting idle. They have been testing quests on the new engine version for quite some time. Judging by discoveries found in the localization files of patch 1.6, one of these quests is about a strange mutant. You see it too, right? The Tushkin is either deaf, blind, or concussed. I fired a burst next to it, shouted at it, zero reaction. It doesn't touch you, and you don't touch it. Everyone goes their own way. It'll stand here and watch. Maybe it will come to its senses. And let's not forget the mention of X-17 in another quest where the engine was being tested. At the moment, there is too little information to say whether these quests will be added to the game, but I am 99% sure that new quests will appear, even before the DLC The Mystery of Limansk. GSC's technical producer, Yevhen Kulik, explained the core of the problem in a recent GSC interview for FRVR. Updating the engine itself for a project of this scale is already a very painstaking task, but that's not all. The game engine is heavily modified by GSC themselves. It is literally a forked version of UE 5.1. Inside the studio, it is called 5.1.GSC. This is not just UE 5.1 as is, but an engine rework specifically for the needs of the game. GSC had to deeply adapt UE 5 to a large-scale open world and the game's unique features. Performance optimization. Rendering pipelines were reworked to draw the world faster and reduce load. CPU and memory usage were improved. For example, RAM consumption was reduced. Rendering changes. Part of the graphic systems and the rendering pipeline was rewritten to suit the game's needs, which is critical due to the enormous open world and the large number of objects. Tools for unique game systems. Some built-in UE tools were adapted to support proprietary mechanics, such as A-Life, although the native system was temporarily simplified. Since we've touched on A-Life, I'll say it directly. A-Life 2.0 is not a myth. To put it bluntly, the developers removed the A-Life 2.0 folder and added an A-Life optimization folder instead. Part of that original A-Life will return with DLC 01, specifically faction warfare. This is certain and became known thanks to data mining. A-Life at release and A-Life now are night and day. If at release the folder was called A-Life Optimization, now it is A-Life 1.0, which not only is not inferior to the trilogy, but in some moments even surpasses it, although in certain areas it still needs further refinement. More A-Life fixes will definitely arrive in patches 1.9 and 2.0. Why not just update the engine? Because the engine has been deeply modified, a regular UE update, for example, to UE 5.5.4, is an extremely difficult task. Many changes may conflict with Epic's new tools, and migrating all proprietary modifications to a new base requires a huge amount of development time and resources. Nevertheless, GSC plans to update to the newer UE 5.5.4 version for better stability, performance, and to fix graphical anomalies. Modern UE improvements are a separate step that also requires serious rework. Over time, we can expect the full implementation of DLSS 4 and hardware Lumen, the features players are waiting for the most from the engine update. In the New Year's greeting, GSC did not share information about the state of the engine update, but they did say that things are going very well with the DLC. They teased the CNPP, that's it. But this is a very smart teaser. It's hard to say whether this is a render or a CNPP teaser using the new UE 5.5.4 engine version, which would imply that the visuals have indeed been improved. However, looking back at the past, it looks very much like a render. Comparison of the CNPP stand in the game and in the teaser. In the trailer, you can notice a tree originating from Shadow of Chernobyl. and the video itself seems to reference the finale of that game. There is even a helicopter burning out on the roof of the CNPP sarcophagus. A zombified figure can be seen walking in the distance. In the background, the CNPP ambient soundtrack plays, work on which began in July of this year. The teaser is solid. We can expect the return of cut tree assets and finally fog. I don't know whether you were waiting for the return of burnt fuzz in the sequel. As for us, absolutely yes. It is one of the most atmospheric anomalies, whose roots go back to Roadside Picnic by the Strugatsky brothers. We will discuss the DLC in more detail in the next videos. For now, here are my 3 possible release date options for the DLC. February 10th, 2026. April 2nd, 2026. April 26th, 2026. I assume that the engine update will most likely be released in patch 1.9 and the DLC in 2.0. The Reddit community compiled a wish list of updates for 2026 for GSC, as well as a brief summary of what was completed from the 2025 plans by Vadislavovich. Based on the list shown in the image, the expected changes are in the following areas: RE and gameplay, significantly improved life, longer online distance, smarter NPCs, NPC reactions to combat, injuries, mutants, and the environment, more lifelike mutants, behavior, packs, improved animations and world interaction, graphics and engine UE 5.7, updated visuals, nanite, lumen, virtual shadow maps, better vegetation, landscapes, and meshes, improved SAO, SSS, and lighting, support for DLSS plus ray reconstruction, reworked LOD and optimization, content, new and reworked artifacts, new locations and expansion of Pripyat, Jupiter, and Yanov, more weapon types and modifications, side and local quests, modding tools, built-in modding toolkit, quest and location editor, multiplayer, in-game PDA sections, zone codex or encyclopedia, player history and statistics. In patch 1.9, in addition to the engine update, we can expect binoculars, an extended day and night cycle, Zone Kit Phase 2, which will allow players to create their own quests with full voiceover and localization, thermal scope. In the game build, it can be noticed that a thermal scope was prepared. This can be verified by spawning all scopes into the inventory via the spawner and examining them closely. However, it could not be equipped or used, although there was an inventory icon and a complete absence of a dropped world model. In the release version, the thermal scope can still be found at the Vada base at the chemical plant as an unused item. The positive side is that it already has a final model, which generally matches the build icon and concept art. In the near future, we can expect a tactical weapon flashlight. Sound files for turning the tactical flashlight on and off were found in the game files. These files are located in the Weapon Attachments folder, meaning they belong to weapon attachments. In the same folder, there are also sounds for laser on, off, zoom level switching while aiming, and likely switching brightness or illumination modes of the reticle dot in collimator or holographic sights. Bug fixes that appeared after the last major patch include objects being thrown through walls by Burris and poltergeists, as well as frequent spawning of Burris and large numbers of bloodsuckers. The community manager's responses indicate that, in the future, there may be an option to disable traces. Cutscene skipping, which was present at release but is currently broken, is being worked on and developers are trying to fix it. Mods on PS5 will appear later, and it is also possible that a mod manager will appear on PC. It has been showing up in the files for a long time but is currently only used on Xbox. In the future, the idea of adding special weapon inspection animations is being considered, similar to the one shown with the Rhino revolver in one of the trailers. However, that animation was activated specifically for the trailer and is currently used only before the start of a round in the arena. The developers are preparing items for the Steampoint shop, but their appearance should not be expected anytime soon. The work is still at the stage of rough drafts, and they will most likely be released together with a DLC. Over time, more weapon attachments and weapons themselves will be added. as well as unique versions of weapons that already exist in the game. Displaying subtitles in immersion mode is not planned for now. Some individuals asked for dismemberment to be added to the game, but it obviously will not be. The camouflage of the pre-order suit and backpack in PS5 promo art differs from the PC Xbox version. These were changed only for PS5 and will not appear on other platforms. They will remain PS5 exclusives. GSCS Community Manager does not rule out a future transition to UE 5.6 or 5.7 if necessary. Developers want to limit the publication of mods in the Steam Workshop so that undesirable mods do not become publicly available. Officially, there is no point in following new patches for the trilogy. No new content will be added, and existing content will not be changed, only bug fixes. GSC often avoids questions about multiplayer because there is simply nothing to share at the moment. We will not see multiplayer anytime soon. Development has not even started. I will remind you once again that the developers do not plan co-op. They have repeatedly denied working on a cooperative mode. Multiplayer implies modes similar to those in the trilogy, PvP and Deathmatch. Official multiplayer information. Multiplayer was not promised or planned at release. There is no confirmed information that development has started. Developers plan to work on multiplayer after release. There are no multiplayer assets in the release or build versions. Community managers have repeatedly denied the appearance of co-op. GSC actively avoids multiplayer-related questions. The multiplayer concept is classic network play, like in the trilogy. PvP, Deathmatch. In upcoming patches, a new difficulty option may appear, Custom Run, meaning a fully customizable difficulty, similar to Anomaly. A detailed description of the Custom Run mode was found in the localization files. Suitable for those who like to precisely customize their gameplay experience. Determines how difficult survival in the zone is. Affects emissions, anomaly damage, and radiation and PSI accumulation speed. Determines how difficult it is to fight humans. Affects their accuracy, reaction, and combat tactics. Determines how generous the zone is to you. Affects all prices and rewards. If you change the custom run difficulty, you will not be able to return to it later in this playthrough. A short outcry. How do you feel about the ability to customize difficulty? Do you think that by adding this option, developers are shifting all responsibility onto players because they are unable to fine-tune everything themselves to make it feel polished, well-designed, and engaging? A game should be a game, not a build-your-own-game constructor, as one of our editors believes. I personally support GSC because they provide freedom of choice and the ability to shape the zone the way you see it, which is one of the core theses of the game. Write what you think about this in the comments.